Welcome to Wrestling Hill Talk, where we talk all things wrestling, old and new. I'm your host, Heck and Steve. We've got Brian, Roger Elkins II, Ben Bowman, Tag Champ, Will, and Dr. Nick. How's everybody feeling this week? A lot of news to go over.
Doing great.
Feeling great.
Absolutely. Yeah, Roger's over there with the fireworks.
I think Roger's balls just busted.
I heard they were massive. That's what I heard.
Hey, I heard this was going to be a ball busting episode right here.
Oh, so you guys.
I heard our special guest is Balls Mahoney.
Balls Mahoney.
I heard this episode is going to be balls to the wall. That's all I'm saying.
Before we started,
balls of fire.
Before we started tonight, there was a lot of ball busting comments made, and I said that was enough of that. So now that we're live, getting it all out.
Well, Steven, the ball's in your court, so let's start the show.
Yeah, that's right. Balls in your court, Stevie C.
Well, I'll tell you this right now, man. Over this past weekend, we had the Royal Rumble, which is one of my personal favorite events that WWE puts on every year, and some of the results I was pretty happy with. But we'll jump into that, and then we're going to talk about some WWE news. There was a lot of stuff that was unveiled in the past week. I'm sure everybody's heard about all of it by now, but we'll kind of dive into that a little bit. And then, of course, we'll have our show and tell, and I actually have a couple of things for show and tell this week. Of course. Well, who are we missing here? We're missing Shane, Kev. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Shane and Kev?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know Shane was suffering from a migraine, so I hope you feel better soon, man. And then I guess Kev probably had some kid problems going on.
No, he has strep throat. Kev has strep throat. He just got back from the doctor a little bit ago. He just messaged me.
Oh, man.
Good. You get to feeling better, Kev.
Yeah, I hope you feel better, man.
Better soon.
So, Royal Rumble, I was able to watch it over at my buddy Scott's house this weekend. And I tell you what, man, for only 4 matches, that damn event was long as hell.
Yep.
Honestly thought that, they had their kickoff show from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. They should have put that Kevin Owens and Logan Paul match on that because that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because it started out like it was going to be a pretty good match, and then then it got down to the end where one of them tries to cheat. I don't know why Logan Paul has to cheat with brass knucks when he has this whole gimmick of having metal in his hand. Like, why the hell does he need to use brass knucks? But anyways, he didn't get to. And then who was the face in this match? Because when they first started, Logan went to shake his hand because Logan's the heel, I assume, and then Kevin swatted it away, and then tried to use brass knucks at the end of the match. And ended up getting disqualified after the ref, not looking at him at all, counts to 2, and then immediately beelines. Could not make it more obvious that it was set up. I mean, obviously it's set up. It's wrestling, but,
set up by the mafia.
They could at least try to make it more convincing, I think.
I thought it was a really good match. Regardless of what people's opinion is of Logan Paul, you got to give the guy credit. He trains. He's good on the mic. He's safe in the ring with people. People trust him, and he makes money. I mean, I don't particularly like the guy on a personal level, but he's successful at whatever he does. Boxing, YouTube, movies, whatever. And, Kevin Owens, a guy who's been in the business as long as he has, for him to be like, yeah, I'll work with the guy, that says a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Owens is an uncrowned world champion again because that guy belongs in a world title picture consistently. And, I feel like he's another one of them that has just been kind of cast aside like Finn Balor, where he should have a belt. And even if he's not world champion, he should have a U.S. title or a title. Yeah. And just my thoughts. I know I'm just kind of throwing this out there, but and you guys can criticize the shit out of this if you'd like. But why in the world are you not feuding Kevin Owens with Gunther right now? Because
I know, right?
What a feud that would be. Now there's some draw to that. You could really use a Kevin Owens Gunther feud to close WrestleMania Night 1 because that would be a hell of a match. So I'm really they're just disappointed in where they're putting Owens on the card. I'm glad to see he's back. I'm glad to see he's uninjured, but it's just another wasted talent. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Triple H and Shawn and so many guys are loving guys like Logan Paul being in the business, when really, why are we not pushing the talent that we already have? And that's what a lot of the guys like CM Punk have been saying for years.
Yeah.
Well, we might even
Well,
see something like that now that Brock is kind of pushed to the side. We might see somebody like a Kevin Owens go against Gunther.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Well, there's another talent too that, and I know Williams says this all the time. But what about Shinsuke Nakamura? That guy deserves to be. That guy deserves to have a title. That guy deserves to have feuds with Gunther, with Kevin Owens, with whoever. I mean, that guy's incredible, and he's on the shelf pretty much.
Here's the thing that I heard or read the other day. Kevin Owens actually has a broken foot.
Really?
So yeah, he's not healthy as he should be. He has a broken foot that he got from his fight with the guy from LWO that left the LWO.
Santos Escobar.
Yeah, Santos Escobar got a broken foot in that match, and they said he still hasn't healed, and he was working through the match with Logan Paul with it.
That's a difficult part of the body to heal too.
Yeah.
You know what though? Undertaker had a broken foot for like 6 months in 1997 and wrestled every night. So,
they didn't say he's not going to continue wrestling. They just said he's got a broken foot.
But
Kurt Angle had a broken freaking neck.
Yeah, there you go.
In the Olympics, though. But one thing I always like to come back to, or I don't like to come back to it, but like it's a core memory of wrestling that I have involving Kevin Owens, was when he was Universal Champion and they buried his ass for fucking Goldberg so that they could have him and Lesnar. Goldberg versus Lesnar didn't need a belt to be a big match. What needed a big match was Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. And, at the time, there was rumors and speculation that, upper management, Vince or whatever, was saying that Kevin was too out of shape to be champion and all this other nonsense. But I mean, Kevin Steen, who he used to be, in the indies and stuff, he had championship belts all the time, and he was fantastic as the Universal Champion. Yeah. And I really wish he would have another opportunity at that. But now we have, Roman or Hulk Reigns, because it's basically just Hulk Hogan, at this point, where Roman's going to hog the shit. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens match should have been 15 minutes shorter if they were going to end it with that bullshit finish like they did. Now, the only match on the card, other than the two Rumbles, was the Fatal 4-Way match between Orton, LA Knight, Roman Reigns, and who was the AJ Styles. Yeah, see, that's how forgettable that match was, that I can't even remember the phenomenal AJ Styles was in that match.
Well, we all knew how it was going to end with some interference.
Yeah. Or, at least Roman was going to get the pin.
Yeah. Right. Like right when I saw Solo come out, I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. Same old shit, different day. But at least in that match, it's not cheating. You know what I mean? Like, it's legal in that match, but it hasn't been in the last 24 matches that the same result that has happened.
And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I understand it's a heel faction, and the whole idea is, you got your guys that will help you retain the title. But at what point does it become like, why can't you just have Roman win clean?
Exactly.
How many times is it going to be Solo shows up, beats somebody down, Jimmy shows up, beats somebody down? Why can't you just have him win clean? There's nothing wrong with that. That just goes to show he is in God mode. Look at that. He just wiped them all out.
I mean, even if he did it on his own, he would still be a heel next week. It's not like him winning fairly is going to change that.
Exactly.
Correct.
It's like, it's not doing anything for Solo either, really.
No. Yeah, at this point, he's just his. I don't want to call him a manager, but he's almost like an escort kind of.
I mean, if anything, they wasted that win against him and John Cena.
Yeah.
That went nowhere.
But you know what, though? As much as we talk about these things like Solo and stuff, the big thing I think we all should be thinking right now is why is there not a clear outline of what WrestleMania looks like? I mean,
Oh yeah,
tomorrow's the beginning of February.
yeah.
So we're 60 days out from WrestleMania. Why do we not have a clear outline of what WrestleMania looks like? Who the hell is facing who? I feel like a lot of these events lately have been just thrown together at the end. Even Rumble was kind of thrown together towards the end.
Mhm.
Announcing and I'm gonna just throw this out there, announcing 10 or 12 entrants into the Rumble when you got 30 participants and then not having surprise entrants makes no sense. Why would you even do that? Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Well, you brought up my point. I think I sent the text out. I can't remember which if I sent it in the group, but what's smart for business is Monday night was a hell of a spot with Seth and Cody. That right there, that put an argument right there that Cody should be going after Seth, and that was a great setup for that this is a workman's title, that this is the blue collar title, this is the world heavyweight title, that Cody versus Seth, to me, as for business wise, would make sense. And then you got Randy Orton versus Roman for the WWE title, because that's the only one I could see actual beating Roman on a clean, fair match would be Randy Orton. And right there is two amazing main events. I would want to see that. I would want to pay money to watch that. Now that's where they should go. Are they going to go that way? No, because WWE right now, they don't do what's best for business. But that's what brought up the point. Those should be the two main events. And then also too, we're talking about WrestleMania. Where the hell is the Hall of Fame announcements yet? I used to love having one every other week up to WrestleMania. And last year they didn't do hardly no announcements. And then they all did it all in one. Now I feel like they should spread them out again. And I want to see who's in the Hall of Fame with Triple H's era now.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I just have a bad memory because like the last 3 or 4 years have been kind of a blur. When they made all those Hall of Fame announcements for 2020, and then obviously they didn't end up doing the Hall of Fame, was everybody that was announced actually inducted?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, because originally it was supposed to be Sid. We all know that never happened.
Yeah.
Batista, we know that never happened. So, I mean, that's just two right off the bat. So there was more. But right back to, without excluding the Hall of Fame conversation, right back to what Ben was saying and kind of into the whole fold of where's WrestleMania going, Rock is now on the board of TKO. Rock, Dwayne Johnson is now on the board of TKO. So are we really going to see Rock and Roman at WrestleMania? And at what point are you going to bring Rock out? Because why wouldn't you have had him come out at Rumble? Why wouldn't you have him come out on Monday night after Rumble? I'm starting to think that, just like I've said the past couple of years, the whole Rock Roman dream match is kind of done,
Well, I think with the Triple H era of running things, he's kind of focusing, like he doesn't want to start building Mania just yet because he's got Elimination Chamber that he wants to make a big success, since it's like the first time they've been in Australia for a PLE. And I don't know the exact amount of time, but it's been a long time. So I would imagine the main event of that is probably, other than the Elimination Chamber matches, there'll be the Rhea Ripley match, and Bronson Reed will probably be a part of the Elimination Chamber again, since he's from there as well. But we'll get an annoying segment from, what's his name, Grayson Waller, because he's from there too.
Yeah. Yep. Yours is up there, the blue one.
They were saying that everything's getting messed up right now due to all the injuries. You had CM Punk with the tore tricep. Now you got Charlotte's already out. You got now CM Punk out. You got Seth out. And you got all these main eventers out. So now they're trying to scramble to figure out how they're going to make new storylines when they have storylines built up.
We're gonna see some new opportunity come for somebody.
Yeah, you'd think.
Case in point, and I don't want to talk about the Men's Rumble exactly just yet, but part of WWE news, it was released, earlier in the week that Braun Breaker came in and took the place of what Lesnar was supposed to do as far as who he eliminated and all the spots that he hit. And Pat McAfee took the actual spot that Lesnar was supposed to come in, which was number 22. And that's why Pat had no idea he was supposed to be in there and kind of just improvised that little thing with Omos. But yeah, I mean, as far as WWE goes, I'd say out of 10, I would probably rate the entire event like a 6 out of 10. I know, like I said before, with the way that Triple H is running stuff now, he didn't rely on legends at all, really, for surprise entrances.
Yeah, they brought back quite a few guys that we kind of expected a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's definitely trying to build a foundation for a long-term success. We're kind of going through the rebuild stage right now, and it may be a little boring for a lot of people. But what's up, Giovanni? I saw you come in the comments, and then Kevin was commenting earlier about Solo wasn't even in the Rumble. And, yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so overall, the championship match was a sleeper. Kevin versus Logan match could have been shorter. Women's Royal Rumble match. So, as previously mentioned, wasn't really any legends in it at all. I don't think there was any legends in it, actually, now that I recollect. But the winner, Bayley, which was a favorite to win, and then Jade Cargill showed up. And
Jordan Grace.
from TNA.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of women that we need in WWE. We need those, like, buff-ass.
Well, and I like the fact that they acknowledged her being, not only did she walk out with the title, but Michael Cole brought up during the Rumble match about how, we have Jordan Grace, who has been part of the knockout division in Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they finally acknowledge the other company.
Yeah, and that has to do with who's in charge now, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a lot more what's the word that I'm looking for? Not acknowledge, but
it's more welcomed now.
Like, have a good relationship with Impact.
Or like just even observing that there's other places that do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're acknowledging other companies.
But you know what? There was a couple of spots in the Women's Rumble where I was just like, oh yeah, this is how they do, because they don't practice enough. Where it's like really slow and you can tell that they're like hitting each other pretty soft. But overall, man, I thought it was pretty good. And I like this whole aspect they have where, like, is Bayley going to choose Rhea or is she going to choose her friend to go after at WrestleMania? But I'll let somebody else talk because I just totally yacked for like 3 minutes, basically.
I think
she's definitely going to choose Io, right? I mean, there's no way she chooses Rhea. Who the hell would want to choose Rhea to go against, right? Go ahead, Roger.
Well, they're going to build up to that because everybody said for quite a while now that she's going to get kicked out of Damage Control anyway. So, of course, she'd go after Io. So they're probably going to turn around and have something come up where she gets booted out of Damage Control and she's going to be like, well, screw it then. I'm going after Io.
Would they have a women's title match on Elimination Chamber? I know because Rhea's from Australia. Would they hold off on that till WrestleMania for Bayley? Or
no, because Elimination Chamber either determines number one contender or it determines world champion. Most Elimination Chambers have world titles on the line, so I think you'll either see. What's that?
They might put Io in that one, and then if she loses it there, then Bayley faces it, and if they still want her to stay in Damage Control,
try to redeem by like winning it back for her team. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think it's pretty clear that it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax though, for that belt. So, and to be honest with you, until Monday Night Raw, I forgot that they had 2 women's belts, and I know that's horrible to say, but I haven't really seen much going on in the women's division in like a while, other than Rhea Ripley is, the shit. That's pretty much all they've been doing.
I think they lost a lot of storyline.
Rhea is hot as fuck.
Well, please explain to me why in the world you would put a person like Asuka in a faction not doing anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
it's the
I
same-
mean they're sleeping on him.
Well, she's
I
a
think
tag
it-
champion.
That's true, but like for somebody who is, was consistently at the, the top of the women's division, and maybe I'm just overthinking this. I enjoyed the women's rumble. The best way I could put this is everybody in that match, other than a handful of people, they have no gimmicks. I couldn't tell you who half of those people were.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, random blonde from NXT, random brunette from NXT. They're and they have like random names like Ivy and Tree, and there's no definition. There's no like, this person has this gimmick, this person has this. It's all generic wrestlers.
And see, Dr. Nick, that's the downside to this rebuild stage because a lot of people don't know these NXT people. So like it was an opportunity for them to be seen and like get a chance to showcase what they could do, and possibly get a few people to watch NXT. I mean, heck, I might watch NXT, but yeah, I mean, it's just you're gonna have filler like that because it's not really filler to people that watch NXT. They probably loved it, but to us, we're like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate their abilities, and there are quite a few good, women's wrestlers. But it's just like if someone had, pointed at the TV and was like, "Hey, who's Zoe Stark?" Woman from NXT.
yeah.
Like I couldn't differentiate her from any of the other ones.
Here's the thing with that.
Hold on, before we get way too far out in left field. Somebody made a comment, and we got it kind of off subject, but somebody made the comment they thought it was going to be Rhea versus Jade Cargill. I just wanted to make sure I threw this in there. I think Jade Cargill's first feud is absolutely going to be Bianca Belair. I don't think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. I think that is already set in stone. I think before they ever recruited Jade Cargill, they thought that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill was going to be a match stealing or an event stealing match, I should say. So I wanted to make sure we made that point. We saw the comment, but we kind of missed it. We got off track with that. But go ahead and continue. I just want to make sure we threw that out there.
To be honest, Dr. Nick, there's nobody or only a few people in NXT that have gimmicks going right now. The only things they have going right now is Roxanne Perez versus Laya Valkyrie for the women's title, and you got the Dusty Cup going on right now, and the men's championship. Other than that, all these other people don't have gimmicks, to be honest. They're just fillers putting in and trying to make a storyline. To be honest with you right now, there's only probably a handful of people with storylines going on right now.
Yeah.
And then you have Tiffany Stratton, who's in a world all on her own and is drop dead gorgeous. Ooh. My Lord.
And she has some talent to her. She does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
hey, I think we can all agree. Dr. Nick, I think we can all agree on this, though. Braun Breaker goes into the Royal Rumble unexpected, comes out of NXT, moves up to the main roster, and he looked phenomenal in the Royal Rumble. Like, honestly, he looked better than the Steiners ever looked in Royal Rumbles or anything else. That dude looked great. Go ahead.
He took advantage of his opportunity.
I don't think anybody knows, or if they do, it was put out. Braun Breaker was coming up to the main roster, and then they turned around and made him a heel, and it went so good they left him down there to run his heel process, because he was coming up to the main roster, and then they said, well, let us see you as a heel and see if it works. And it worked, so they kept him down there, but he was coming to the main roster.
Yeah. But
and are we not going to talk about R-Truth?
Well, we're getting to it.
The steal of the night.
The steal of the night. That's part of the women's rumble because he came out in the women's rumble, dude.
I know. We're getting to it.
We need to protect him at all costs.
We haven't mentioned CM Punk's daughter either, Cora Jade.
Cora Jade.
She's hurt just like her dad is.
Yep, she is.
Like Richard made a comment here. Am I the only one who wants to see Bianca turn heel and team with Jade? I think they'd carry the titles well, the tag titles.
I mean, that'd
be a powerhouse, but who the hell would they defend
I don't think
against?
they'll
Chelsea
turn
Green
heel.
and Piper Niven?
Bianca
Well,
Belair is too much of a moneymaker. You know,
As
she
a
appeals
single.
to the kids.
But you
Yeah.
know what?
Yeah,
though?
but
After they feud between now and SummerSlam, they absolutely could turn those two into a tag team. You know,
Yeah.
you've got people out there that can compete with them. I think sometimes we think, you know, when we put a powerhouse team together, there's nobody out there. You got Liv Morgan and Raquel. You've got some teams out there. You know, and I'm not a fan of Chelsea whatsoever, but that Piper Niven is definitely, you know, still a top contender. You could pair Nia Jax up with a broom, and she's a contender for anything. You know, so I mean, there's some different things, but you know, either way, I think there's some opportunity there to see them as a tag team. But first, I think you feud them at WrestleMania because that's going to be an event stealing match. Jade Cargill and Bianca is going to be an event, whether you like Bianca or not.
Yeah.
That's going to be a really good match. They're very evenly matched up.
Yeah.
And
So I
here's
just
one.
so I think with Jade Cargill too, obviously coming from AEW, the women there, you know, they're petite and everything. I really had no idea Bianca was just as big or as tall as Jade Cargill. Like them standing next to each other, it was identical.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two definitely need to wrestle at WrestleMania because that'll be a great match.
And we were talking about Braun Breaker taking Brock's spots earlier. You must have just came in, so welcome.
Yeah. And we also talked about Braun doing a great job too. So
Well,
Absolutely,
how was
yeah.
it the response that Naomi got? That was great.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, she was
Female
crying in the
nation
ring. I mean, she first
domination.
came out.
I mean,
that was a
People
Here's the
remembered her.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't know if anybody remembers. Jade Cargill came from AEW.
Yeah.
And she came over here.
Really?
Was only in she came from AEW, and was only in NXT for a short time. And now she's up at the main roster. And think about this: you put Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair after the feud, which I agree with 100% should happen, and have them go against the Kabuki Warriors for the tag titles. They could not stomp a mud hole and walk it dry with the Kabuki Warriors. Let's be honest.
One last thing I'm going to say about the Women's Rumble, and then we'll move into the Men's Rumble. I've been really impressed with Maxine Dupree because typically when a woman in wrestling is that gorgeous, they're not good at wrestling, but she is really good at wrestling. So,
dude, we literally just talked about Tiffany Stratton. She's the hottest one out of all of them.
Yeah, she's a good
Dude,
like
Tiffany Stratton is thick.
She's one of the
thick,
top
Steven.
wrestlers down in NXT. She's
I hear people
Dude,
talking
Dupree's
about GG and all these other ones.
Oh,
but
yeah.
none of them got nothing on Tiffany.
but
Dude,
yeah,
Maxine Dupree's a toothpick compared to her, dude.
and what's funny though, Nick,
go ahead.
Earlier you were talking about all these random people from NXT and that Rumble. I remember one came out and I was like, "Oh, this is Shotzi," and it wasn't. It was somebody else. And then later on, Shotzi came out and I'm like, "Oh, there's the tank." Because when the first person came out, I remember I was like, "Oh, Shotzi's not using the tank." Oh wait, that's not Shotzi. That's somebody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah. A lot of them have like similar gimmicks too, or like they have funky hair colors. You know, like doing whatever they can to stand out.
It's kind of like Ruby Riott was basically a ripoff of Rhea Ripley. I mean, it was the same damn gimmick: tattoos and colored hair.
And
hey, Ruby Riott's hot too. I've had that debate many times.
She has been, isn't she?
That goes back to the thing. They had a gimmick going with, or something going with Tiffany Stratton and what's her name? Hala. Anyway, they had a gimmick going with them, and then they just dropped it dead after a couple of matches. Same thing. You got people that have things down in NXT, and they just cut the storylines. So there's nothing there.
Because you have non-story, the story writers are non-wrestling fans or background in wrestling.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say something similar to that, Ben. I was going to say, it seems like NXT's getting AEW writing treatment.
Yeah, you got Shawn Michaels down there running NXT, and like I said, there's a handful of people that have storylines going right now. Everybody else is just fillers.
Well, he must be looking at two different things at once, because I mean, clearly he can't figure it out.
But are they fillers or are they there to train and become the future? So, I mean,
Well,
that's
in
the whole point.
in the matches that they're having, they're just fillers.
Well,
Just till the
Main thing.
guys that have the
I will
story going
100%
in.
agree with Will, because think of it this way. The class that just went through there, imagine this, okay? The class that just went through there with like Braun Breaker and those type of people. Think of the 2002 OVW class. Look at all those guys that came out of there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, not
And
all of them are
technically-
going to become big.
Technically, now they're all gone except
Yeah.
for Randy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know,
I mean,
there's
literally
a
all
handful
of
of guys that they know, be like, yep, this is who we want to be the guy.
Yeah.
And,
Like I
you
said,
know,
they got Braun and
look at
Corbin.
Roman and Seth's class. That wasn't that long ago. What, 2012, I think, 2015, somewhere in
Yeah, it
there.
was-
Bray was
yeah,
in
it
the
wasn't
same
that-
class. Luke Harper, Rowan, Braun come right after.
Yep.
I mean,
You're
and
right.
those are all. Every one of them had world championships of some sort, whether it was the world title, intercontinental, tag titles, whatever. Every single one of them from that class had belts. Alexa was in that class. Sasha was in that class. Bailey was in that class. You know, and Bailey stayed, I think, longer than any of them. All the rest of them were up on main
Becky Lynch,
roster.
Charlotte too, weren't they?
see, I was
Yeah,
shocked
they were right about the same time.
to see Naomi, but we didn't get Sasha.
Sasha Banks. Yeah.
Not yet. That might be a WrestleMania return or
Well,
something.
but also too, I was just talking the other day. I think it was in the podcast chat that I think they said she's still out till March,
Oh,
and that's why she didn't make that
Okay.
Rumble appearance, because, you know, I kind of predicted that she would be in the Rumble and even win it, but I think I read somewhere that she's out till March, which ultimately could get her in there just in time for WrestleMania. So
yeah.
maybe, or maybe she comes out and helps Bailey at WrestleMania defeat Rhea, you know, if Bailey does face Rhea. But I just can't picture anybody, you know, really going against Rhea right now unless it's Nia or somebody, you know, really big. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see what they do with Andrade showing up.
I love Andrade.
Now,
Absolutely love Andrade.
That was probably the only like big surprise in the Rumble.
I love Andrade. And if you don't love, and we gotta cover the Miz Rumble real fast because we're running out of time and we gotta cover some WWE news. But if you don't love Andrade, man, I don't know what to tell you. But if you didn't watch Ric Flair's last match and you didn't fall in love with Andrade at that point, go back and watch it again because you didn't watch it right. Because man, that match alone with Andrade, that match alone will make you respect him as a person more than anything, you know.
Well,
same thing with Jay Lethal.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and the
again,
thing, they dropped the ball with Andrade the first time, but now that Triple H is in charge, I think Andrade knows, hey, I can come back now.
But did they drop the ball, or did they have to make budget cuts for Vince to pay lawsuits? So because
Could be a
remember,
combination.
he just happened to be in a long list of other people. It wasn't necessarily anything he did. He was United States champion,
right?
You know. So, all right, we got to cover Men's Rumble because we're running out of time. Brian, you want to talk about the greatest part of the whole night, which was R-Truth?
Yeah, you know, obviously he came out in the women's match thinking it was the men's match, right? So then he got reprimanded by the GM and kicked back, and then he came out to the men's Royal Rumble match and thought it was a tag match, which I love that Dominic played it into it.
Yeah,
right.
And then obviously, you know, R-Truth came in, and but yeah, I mean, you know, the men's Royal Rumble was good, you know, but it wasn't. I like the women's Royal Rumble better, obviously, but
they had some good spots.
But you know, they talk about Brock Lesnar. You know, Braun Breaker taking Brock Lesnar's spot. Was Dominic Mysterio really going to toss out Brock Lesnar?
That was the plan.
Yeah, because he was going to feud with him.
Because he was going to work with him at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's just crazy that they must think highly of Dominic then to give him that spot, right?
I mean, who do they hate more than Dominic Mysterio? I mean,
yeah, but I don't think the hate is as strong anymore with him as it was before. But they must think highly of Dominic.
He's definitely a lot better at being a wrestler than he was. Because remember when he first came in, everybody's like, "Man, he can't wrestle. He can't wrestle.
He sucked.
And then just the last thing I'll talk about, how underwhelming was the 30th pick? Like, I'm glad to see Sammy's back, but underwhelming.
Yeah,
to say the least. I thought it'd be.
I mean, with the
more.
minimal damage that he contributed, it was just a throw in. But as far as the Rumbles go, you said that you like the women's more. I honestly, this is the first year where I thought the women's Rumble was just as good as the men's Rumble. Because usually usually I just don't want to watch the women's Rumble at all.
I guess to me, it was missing that. Like, we owe it for years. We always had like that one guy, whether it was Stone Cold or Kane or somebody else, that just went on like a spree of "you're gone, you're gone, you're gone." Yep. We didn't have that.
Well, Hogan
Nia Jax did on the women's side,
and Hogan teased in the video game trailer that he might show up, and then he didn't, even though they were
glad he didn't.
St. Petersburg.
That would not have been pretty.
I would have been like Booker T last year.
Y'all gotta let go. Everybody, not just y'all. I mean, I just say it because we're talking, but everybody's got to let go of the thoughts that Hogan is going to have this one more match. Man, I just don't see it unless he's got somebody in there and he just runs in and punches them and maybe boots them. But he can't even leg drop them, man. I love Hogan. But I don't want to see it.
I don't want him to because I don't want him to get hurt.
Well, they destroy their legacies that way. We've talked about that a million times. These guys destroy their legacies. But one more thing about the men's Rumble too, though, with R-Truth, I love the fact that he got in there doing the John Cena moves, paying homage to John Cena, his friend, loves the guy. I love the fact they were doing that. And, the whole Tom and Nick Mysterio storyline that was going on there for a few weeks. Yeah, how hilarious was that? I mean,
R-Truth is awesome.
What a character to be able to do that whole thing and pull it off.
Well, and we even got to see the reuniting of Awesome Truth for a little bit,
and again on Monday too.
Yeah,
came out and saved his old butt and stuff. But yeah, the men's Rumble. CM Punk ended up getting seriously injured, his arm or his shoulder in the match. But I was really excited to see Cody win again. But I will say this, it was almost a carbon copy of what happened last year, because we literally get down to 2, and then it's like a 15-minute thing after everybody else, and then Cody, slides him out. So it's just like they need to be more creative and change it up a little bit, especially with all aspects of their story writing. As we mentioned earlier with the Roman Reigns storyline, how he always has interference. But, overall, it was a good Royal Rumble. Like I said, man, I'd say 6 out of 10. It could have been way better.
I enjoyed it.
I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't disappointed about the surprise entrance and stuff. It's better to rebuild and get some new names in there.
John Roger.
What the? What was
Roger's celebrating? Roger's celebrating the Rumble over there.
Oh, and Kevin in the comments, he said, "Do you think Moxley will ever come back to WWE?" I doubt it because he gets so much freedom in AEW.
Yeah, no, never. So 2 things real fast. One thing I didn't like about it was the fact that there was no legends. Second thing I didn't like was the fact that I believe the fact that it ended up almost the same as Royal Rumble last year is because CM Punk was injured. I honestly believe that they were going to have CM Punk win it, but he had already said in the middle of the match, he told the ref that his tricep was torn. So at that point,
on the fly.
I believe because of that because he was injured, that was the fastest way to get him out of there so he could get help.
Well, and might just be semantics, but by him winning the title from Seth, he's technically not finishing the story. The title that Dusty never won is technically the one Roman has.
Yep.
Yeah, but William brought it up earlier, or it may have been somebody else. The working man's title would work to finish the story because what was Dusty?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's how it is now, is like the second title is now the one that Dusty would want.
Right.
That's what they're trying to say. And, I mean, I get it. Yeah. It's a convincing argument. But like Cody said on Raw, nobody was thinking about that until it was brought up on Raw by Seth
Right.
himself.
Dusty held that exact belt. He held the
Correct.
World Heavyweight Championship. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this, but they made the big gold because the old NWA didn't fit. The 10 pounds of gold didn't fit around Dusty anymore because Dusty had gained a lot of weight by the third time he won it. So they made the big gold for him. And then, of course, it became synonymous with Ric Flair. But in 85, I think it was, Great American Bash 85 is when Dusty won that big gold belt. It might have been 86. I can't remember. But that's why they made the big gold in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And if you look at the belt Seth has, it's technically the big gold belt, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So technically his dad did have that title not once but 3 times because he held the NWA 10 pounds of gold twice before he had the big gold.
Yeah.
So I mean, he did have that. The belt that Dusty didn't get was when he was wearing the polka dots. He didn't get the WWF title, which would then now be the Universal title or
Yeah.
whatever the undisputed title that Roman has. So I get it, but also, if you don't put Cody and Roman, it just leaves so many open opportunities for what are you going to do. And, I mean, people love Cody. Cody is so over. It is insane. So,
Well, and
Hey,
I think it'll be a huge pop when he wins at Mania.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it? We're not even discussing this. Look who's always a multiple-time back-to-back Royal Rumble champion. You had Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels. I'm probably forgetting another one. All of those have been world heavyweight champions.
Yep.
Cody. I know it's right now. I think it's just the year of giving everybody like the participation award and here you go,
Accolades.
congratulations. Because, like for example, you have Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Roman Reigns right now getting ready to break that record. Bianca Belair. They keep adding records, so now you have a current a 2-time
Timers in the Rumble too.
Yeah, so it's not making any damn sense. Like to me, in my mind, I would never put Cody on those same levels, and he's never been a champion there. Hell, he wasn't even a champion at AEW for the World Heavyweight Champion on his own company. I mean, I like Cody, but to me, winning again back to back, I just don't put him in those categories of those back to back. Which, granted, we talked about Stone Cold was not a back to back champion either in '97, but I don't put Cody in those same levels as the back to back champions of Stone Cold, Shawn, and then there's Hogan.
And see,
Well,
I pointed
and I
out the
think
accolade thing like last year sometime when we first started doing the podcast. I'm like, that's all you hear about now is like, oh, they broke this thing. This
Yeah.
hasn't been done before, and now it has. And
I think
and
the whole
blah, blah.
reason why they've chosen Cody and the reason why so many people love him is the same reason why people loved his dad. He stands for that underdog guy who, perseveres no matter what, doesn't give up. He's got that, just positive attitude and, has so much energy that you can't help but love him, So I think him, when he does win the title, I'm hoping that it will be a lengthy one. The problem is who do you have take it off of him?
What, off of Cody?
Yeah, once he wins,
well, man, they
who
don't
beats
even know
Cody?
what's going to happen at Elimination Chamber. They ain't thinking about that.
I'm just saying, like back in the day, and Will and Ben and everybody can agree on this. There is no long-term booking anymore. I get that, but at least at some point you had an idea of like, okay, we got this guy. He has the title. He's going to carry it for this long. Let's build up these other guys in that title hunt. There's no title hunt anymore.
Yeah.
It's just random.
There's no end game. There's no end game at all. All.
Like you'd have guys that would be in the title hunt for 5-6 months. And then when they finally got it, you hear that 1, 2, 3, you're like, yes, he did it.
I honestly think that it was supposed to be CM Punk, but he got injured, so they pulled it. That's what I honestly believe.
I think CM Punk could have main evented WrestleMania, but I don't think they would have let him take it off Roman.
No,
I
it
think
would have been
would've
him
been
and Seth.
it would have been him and Seth.
Which, to what Roger's saying, could be why they had that promo on Monday night with Seth, because they're like, well, shit, now we got to figure out a way to, because, everyone's going to think Cody's going to want the rematch with Roman. So now we've got to, since CM Punk can't face Seth, now we got to have Seth come out and try to convince Cody to fight him instead.
Well, but if you remember the end of Royal Rumble, Cody pointed up at Roman and said he's going after him. So now that you got CM Punk,
but that's before Punk walked back through the curtains and said, "Hey, I'm tore up. I can't compete."
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
How
so
many
now because of
title
that,
reigns
now
does
go
Orton have right now?
15.
15.
Is it 15?
So,
I thought it was 14. 14, right?
I'll look it up.
I think it's 14.
I think it's 15.
Is it 15?
I would absolutely love if he beats Roman.
Yeah,
it would 100% be believable. It would
says 10 times champion. He's only been 10 times WWE champion.
Yeah, but then you got to look at the world heavyweight champions too.
Yeah.
Well, it says 7 there. So 17.
17.
On the Royal Rumble, they said he's 20-time champion.
Well, he's
but
been
that's
maybe if they're including tags and Intercontinental.
But
because technically the ones that Flair have, a couple of them, they don't even count there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's my thing real quick is if it was supposed to be CM Punk, Punk versus Seth, but I mean, you got to think of who's going to draw for the main event. You'd always think WrestleMania main event, that is the match of the year, it's who you want to see. So tell you what if Cody chooses Roman? So then we're talking about who chooses Seth. Right now, there's really no one, and it's kind of playing out that it's going to be Drew McIntyre because he says, I'm going to work my way into that match. And to me, would I rather see Drew versus Seth and then Roman versus Cody? No. I'd rather see Cody versus Seth, Roman versus Randy Orton. To me, those are
and they missed the opportunity when they could have had Drew take it off of Roman at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quick correction, it's 14 times. 4 times heavyweight, 10 times WWE.
Because, this is just throwing it out there. Imagine this. Gets towards the end of the match, Solo comes in. RKO on Solo. Jimmy comes in. RKO on Jimmy. Roman thinks he's got him. He goes to spear him. RKO. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Done. End of night 2.
I don't know. I think we should RKO him off the Titantron.
or Roman spears him and keeps it for another Mania.
Oh, dude, I will uninstall WWE.
So as of right now, he's got Hulk Hogan's is coming up. I think Hogan's was like 1,400 and something. There's no way they're going to let him get anywhere near, because after Hogan, it's Backlund.
He has to lose.
I thought it was Backlund first, then Hogan, and then Bruno.
Well, Bruno had it for like a ridiculous amount.
The second time he had it for
7 years.
Yeah.
He had it for like 7
he's
years.
he's never going to touch Bruno.
So I mean, he'll definitely beat Hogan's, I think, but I don't know about Backlund.
Well, last thing with WWE news, the Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar allegations.
Kind of a shitstorm.
All I want to say with that, is good riddance. And of course, McMahon voluntarily resigned from his position, but obviously it's one of those things where he was pushed out, and they're trying to save face with it.
And I don't know how much truth there is to this, but one of the reasons supposedly why Shane left when he did years ago was because of his father's behavior.
They tried to get him to do it too.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that article as well.
I think the thing that bothers me the most is you hate to think bad things about a guy who essentially shaped your childhood, brought so many cool things to the TV and characters, and you hate to think that, like, oh my God, could somebody really be that bad?
Yeah.
And it's just hard to grasp. And it actually made me quite sad.
Yeah, it's disappointing for sure. I mean, but it seems like Vince McMahon never stopped being a heel, even when the cameras, turned off and stuff. So
Yeah, it gets
Did
to
you
be
guys
one
see
of
the
those.
interview from 1992 with Vince McMahon? It was on a talk show, and one of his announcers got fired because supposedly they wouldn't sleep with Pat Patterson.
Yep.
yep.
And did you guys see that
Yeah.
interview too?
Yeah.
I
think it was
watched.
on-
I actually
wasn't that
watched
on
that whole segment.
Wasn't that on
Oh
like
yeah,
the
so you're
Costas show
talking
or
that
something?
was
Or?
32 years ago.
Yeah, they had a
and-
lawsuit involving that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was 32 years ago, so the stuff's been going on for a long time. But at the same time, when you get to be that elitist status, a lot of times you use your position to do whatever you want, just like any other elitist in any other company or any other business. He's not alone in that category.
Right.
There was an island, if you guys remember, that's been talked about many, many times in the media that the elitists traveled to and did all kinds of the same shit. So my
Well,
only
and it was
question,
going to come out sooner or later.
You get
my
to one
only
of those
question
points
and my
where
only
you're,
thought is this. My only thought is this. If all these things were truly happening and they were all truly unwanted advances and unwanted attention, why did it take so long, and why was it only after these people all received some sort of compensation did they say something?
Well,
Here's the thing. So she agreed to an NDA to receive $3 million, and he only paid her $1 million.
well,
So
and I could be wrong about this.
Originally, sorry, Nick.
Oh, good.
Originally, that everything was okay. All was, hush hush forgiven. But because he didn't end up paying his part of the deal, she decided to, obviously put a lawsuit on him. So
The
it's
one
all about
thing
money.
that I was reading, and I you never know what's 100% accurate.
Never
But
trust a hoe.
supposedly, she had also sued other people and had failed because she had no credible information, evidence. And I'm not saying that she's lying whatsoever. I'm not saying that. But when you have previous lawsuits where people have said, unless you have proof, you know, essentially, you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, she must have had some serious proof in order to get this going, but it
Yeah.
also puts in precedence of that makes people that things actually happen to, it puts them into a situation like, well, how can we believe you when you've lied about all these other things?
Well, and also too, I think the proof she had was the text messages. The difference in I guess 32 years ago is we didn't have text messages.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we have text messages. So I guess the proof they had was that, or she had, but at the
And
same
phone GPS
time,
can tell you exactly where
yeah,
someone was at what time of day and on what date.
yeah. So I mean, there's technology advances that kind of pinpoint and kind of help support her story, but it doesn't make it entirely accurate or true. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all spun in whatever direction the reporter of the story wants to spin it in. But I think there's probably a lot of the stuff that happened, and I think a lot of people, um, have seen like the Bill Cosby situation, and they think, well, all those people got paid.
Yep.
But ultimately, if you remember, unless I'm wrong in some way, that stuff was overturned, and he was released from prison,
Correct.
and so I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with that Me Too movement and all that stuff
Well, and the
too.
statute of limitations on a lot of that had expired too.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of it has to do with that Me Too movement and people, people these days see the opportunity to receive compensation. It's like these these commercials you see all the time on the TV. They're like, hey, did you take this pill back in 1974? And then all of a sudden your feet hurt. You could be entitled to compensation, So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to it. I don't think you should demonize a lifelong hero or a lifelong person that you looked up to for things that they did because of, things that may or may not be true. Like if it was just straight factual, like if they came out and they're like, look, not only do we have text messages, but here's all the exact photographs that are timestamped, and this is the dude shitting on my head. I think that's a different story. Like,
do you think things would have went differently if they had not secured this deal with TKO?
I mean, I think it was coming either way. I think Vince was always super intelligent, even in his
Because
old
remember,
age
he had
now.
got busted earlier this year with similar stuff, but not quite as bad.
He's so intelligent that I think the only reason he ever even considered selling WWE all the way back to the Peacock deal is because he knew some of this stuff was coming out. And I think some of these people from the past were, really hitting him up and haunting him about, hey, we're going to go public and we're going to blast you and we're going to, do all these things. And I think he thought, okay, well, you're going to do whatever you want. I'm almost 80 years old and I'm a billionaire and I can turn around and sell my stuff right now for billions more. So what the hell do I care? I mean, criminally,
it's not like he's going to serve jail time.
No, criminally, there's nothing that can be done. So at this point, he literally sells his video rights or leases his video rights for an extreme amount of years to Peacock. So basically, he had already sold the company by sending his video library to Peacock. Then he sells, the rights over to TKO for $3 billion more or whatever it was. I mean, what does he care? Anybody, they can come out and say whatever they want now.
Oh yeah, I mean he got his money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole shitstorm, like you guys said. But let's do our show and tell real quick, and then we'll wrap up because we're already about to hit. Well, it just hit 10 o'clock. So, all right. So I'll go ahead and start this week. I only got 2 items, but I've got WWE 2K15 for PS4. And this one's really cool. This was actually gifted to me by a friend of mine. His name online is Ponk, Ponk. WrestleMania Challenge for the NES, and I got the booklet for it. And he sent this little protector with it as well, so that's really cool. But yeah, that's all I got wrestling related this week. And I've been collecting games, wrestling and otherwise. So I've been kind of focusing a lot on buying video games, as you can see. All right, Brian.
Okay. Well, I received in the mail yesterday. I got this beautiful Narcissist Lex Luger, and I got Virgil.
Nice.
And I also received.
Does that Virgil spit on your food?
Only the real one does that.
Does it look like there's 14 inches there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Bless.
I got this as well.
Woo.
Woo is right.
That's Ric Flair.
I absolutely love that.
Ooh.
Oh, now that right there is a piece.
That is
fire.
So
it's funny because we were talking about Terminator. He has Terminator on the boot, so I don't know if this is like that. May be the same shirt he's wearing in that poster I got from you too. I'm not sure.
I can't tell. I can't tell.
But see, there's Terminator on the boots.
Yeah, but remember, he only had that gimmick for such a short time.
That is true.
I mean, it was a real short time, but it's beautiful.
And then I wasn't able to get these when they originally came out, but I got them today from Ringside. I got the Earthquake. And I got Typhoon as well.
Oh, I know.
And then everyone knows I've been struggling finding this, but I finally found it the other day. I got the Hogan 3-pack.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my show and tell for this week.
Not bad, man.
Not at all.
All right, Roger.
Hey, let me get at the end because I just realized I got a couple things that I got to pull real fast.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right, Ben, you go.
My phone's already died. My daughter wants to show what she got.
Heck yeah.
At her first con. She got, what up there? She got a little Wednesday plushie, and then she's pumped about that. And then she got a Wednesday. Oh, we dropped it. A Wednesday pop.
There you
Heck
go.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
So she's a Wednesday fan, a Black Cat fan, and she's been dying to show everybody. And so I was like, well, we'll show it at Show and Tell tonight.
Wow, I love
That's all
that
we got.
plushie. I need to get one of those for my kid.
Awesome pickup.
Yes, thank you. Hey guys, I'm gonna have to get off here. My phone's already dying.
All right, man. Be good.
All right. See you,
Yeah.
Ben.
Later. Kevin just said, if you open your wrestling figures, does the value go down? Yes.
Not necessarily.
The value in our
Honestly,
hearts
there's not
doesn't.
much value in the newer ones anyway. They're so mass produced.
But that's not necessarily true either, because look how much elites go up. Buy any elite and wait 6 months and look at the return on the investment you can sell it for.
Yeah.
You'll make more interest back. You'll make more of a return on investment on an elite figure than you will on a 2% that you would get on a savings account in your bank.
True.
I mean, think about that, So Brian kind of stole my thunder. I haven't found the Typhoon, but traditionally we like to put these bad boys out here and do the old get them ready to rumble, baby.
God, that thing is beautiful.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I've been waiting on this one for a while. Yes, I'm still looking for a Typhoon. Hopefully I find it here coming up.
I wish you could do that, man.
I don't have to because I can see these guys do it.
But you can't hold it in your hand.
Absolutely.
Get that,
real quick, so
that new figure smell.
A lot of people are complaining that the old one, I guess, comes with knee pads and this one doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the earthquake that came out. But the earthquake that came out didn't, or the blue one, the Royal Rumble one came out a couple years. It didn't have them either. So I don't know. Who cares, right? I mean,
exactly.
I'm not going to be dropping him on his knees. Trust me, he's not going to feel a thing. So, and then also too, I don't remember if I showed this last week, but I probably did. Monday Night Raw, Super Nintendo. Still been playing the hell out of that. Steven and I went game shopping. Played the hell out of this when I was a kid, probably 31 or 32 years ago, and playing it now on the Retron system, Super Nintendo, enjoying the hell out of it. So
awesome.
Shout out to Steven on that.
Hell yeah, those Retrons are great, man. I'm glad you're having fun with it.
I got a new copy of Mario and Duck Hunt too. I ordered a copy off of Evil Bay.
Hell yeah!
And I've been playing the original Mario like I wanted in the first place.
Yeah. Did it pop right on without cleaning or anything, or
popped right on?
Hell yeah, that's good. That means you bought it from a good seller.
Yeah, it's been great.
All right, Dr. Nick, you're next.
So I don't have anything new, but I do have an item. I figured I'd just show an item off in my collection. I have several of these. They're all different. This was one of them that was put out by WWF, and the proceeds went to the Alberta Children's Hospital. It's a Owen Hart plaque, and it's got the 8x10, the engraving, and then it's got a New Japan Pro Wrestling card on the top. I don't know how many of these they made. I have 4 of them total. They're all different. They were
I want one.
They were all sold on WWF Shop back in the day. I found the first 2 on eBay like 10 years ago, and I found this one and the second one about 6 months ago. Such unique items. The one thing I am looking for, which I'll probably never obtain, is I want to get Owen autograph, but that's impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got.
That's an awesome piece, man. I'd love to get my hands on that, but I wouldn't imagine that even having that plaque is cheap. It's probably.
It wasn't that expensive, honestly. This one was $45.
Oh, really?
It wasn't expensive. Yeah, it was $45 shipped.
See, if I would have saw that, I would have paid $100. Man, got ripped off. Probably.
I'll keep a lookout for you though, man, because they pop up on occasion.
Yeah, definitely do, man. Because I love Owen Hart. He's great. All right, Roger, take us home, man.
All right, so I had a good Walmart pickup this week. I ended up getting the Elite Greatest Hits Seth from the Shield days. And then I got the Rowdy Piper.
Oh, nice.
And then, like Will was saying, I got the Typhoon or the Earthquake. Sorry.
Everybody found the Typhoon but me.
And the Typhoon.
I tell you what, man, I just want one good day at Walmart. That's all I want as a figure collector.
Yeah, I got lucky. I told Will I'd get him the Typhoon or give him mine because Sarah said to give it to him because actually I'd bought it for him, but he told me to keep it. So, and then I found the Brutus the Barber beefcake they had there.
Hell yeah!
And then
The soft goods on that barber.
Soft goods are awesome on that barber. Gotta love them soft goods. And then got the Tribal Chief and Brock Lesnar Beast triple pack with Paul Heyman.
There you go.
Now I can do my bloodline and have it encapsulated by APG Grading and Jeff Lowe.
Yeah, I was about to say, definitely take care of that.
Yep, I love that that bloodline 3-pack, especially with the Heyman. There's no other elite Heyman except for Paulie Dangerously, and nobody can ever find it.
I have that actually, but I'm not gonna
flexing.
I'm not gonna put that in there. It just wouldn't be right. But that Paul Heyman, yeah, he's going in.
Yeah, I mean, definitely take care of the Lesnar figures because we probably ain't getting no more.
That's fact.
That's probably it.
But
well,
that's
guys,
all I got. I got a big package coming tomorrow from Ben, so I'll open that next week.
Awesome. Well, I think that's the end of it. We covered a lot, man. I didn't know if we'd be able to get out of here within an hour, and we got in here about 8 minutes over, so that's a lot better than I expected. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the past week and a half, you know, or I guess the past week since our last podcast. But, you know, as always, great pleasure. I heard you guys had a really good live sale last night. I was able to step in for a few minutes, but I had to take care of some stuff around the house.
Yeah, they brought the fire just like they always
last
do.
Last night was great. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people reached out to me today. Got a lot of good compliments. A lot of people enjoyed it. So it was really good.
As far as Squared Circle goes, you guys are having the Godwins there as your guest. And is there any word on when the pre-orders are going to start for that? Because like I've told you before, I got a few things I want to do.
I'm thinking probably early next week. You know, when you get custom images done, we have one that's already ready to show, but I don't want to show that one and then not show the other one that we're having done. So because what'll happen is we'll show the first one and everybody will pre-order that, and then we'll show the second one and everybody will say, you know, I think I want number 2 instead of number 1, or so it's better just to show it. It's better to show it at once, because otherwise, you know, when it comes time to get them signed, somebody will say, no, I didn't want that one. I wanted the other one. It's better to just put it all out there at one time. And I can tell you, the first image is done. It's beautiful. It's unique. It's not something we've seen before. And the second one will be equally. It's just fire.
Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited, man. And I got a couple mail-ins to send you guys as well. But Squared Circle, obviously, it's going to be a stacked-ass convention. You guys are going to have so much fun there. And your wallets probably won't, but at least you'll come away with a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
And a great time. You know, we always have a great time. You know, I say it all the time to the guys, but Indy's my favorite convention of the year. Always my favorite. You know, I love Nashville too, but Indy's always my favorite one to go to.
Awesome. Anybody else want to say anything before we wrap up?
No, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And we appreciate all the support.
See you Tuesday night at 8, guys.
Absolutely. Tuesday night at 8. Catch you guys later.